Welcome to the Geek Reviews collaboration. I'm John Murphy.
And I'm Benoit.
We have just seen Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. And Ian, would you like to do the honors?
That is one big pile of shit.
At least according to me.
Yeah, according to you anyway.
Okay. Yeah. My initial impression of Fallen Kingdom is that it's disappointing as a Jurassic Park movie, but as just a simple creature feature, it's a lot of fun.
And I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum, sort of. I think it's a great movie, and factoring in the original book, I can see how this plays into Crichton's overall themes.
Alright, it's sure to be an interesting discussion.
It should.
Alright, so the whole story is that 3 years after the incident in Jurassic World, the island has been abandoned, aside from the dinos, only now they're facing a cataclysmic extinction from the dormant volcano that's now active. Claire from the first movie wants to rescue them to get them off the island and place them in a sanctuary, and gets a call from the Lockwood estate, who apparently was a former partner of John Hammond's, to rescue the dinosaurs and find said sanctuary. Only it turns out once they get to the island, it was actually a ruse developed by what would you classify Mills? It's just like his accountant.
Something like that.
Something like that. To really just get the dinosaurs to sell them to foreign powers. And of course there's Henry Wu is back, and he's helped create another hybrid. Can't see anything going wrong with that.
Yeah, it's not like we have 4 movies on it already.
Mm-hmm. As you probably guessed, is that the good guys win. The hybrid is killed. However, a little twist ending is that the dinosaurs they're still off the island, but now they're on the mainland, so now they're roaming free all over the nation.
Or at least just the West Coast.
At least on the West Coast, yeah. So that's an interesting direction to take for this franchise, and one I'm not bitter about.
Indeed. It was really just a matter of time.
Mm-hmm. It took them 25 freaking years.
Yeah.
Well, they were almost
at the end of the third movie, remember the pteranodons that got off the island?
Oh yeah, that's right. That didn't come back at all, though.
No. On the website, Vic Hoskins from Jurassic World, aka Delta Food, he was actually in charge of the cleanup of taking care of those animals.
Ah, okay. Vic Hoskins, was he Vincent D'Onofrio?
He was.
Ah, okay. Okay. Delta Food. Good one.
Thank you.
Alright, so that's the majority of the story. The plot, however, is just I feel is just kind of very convoluted. Is kind of there's too much going on.
And I have to agree.
I'm sure both of us, we experienced the same thing when watching it. And it was like, this is another Lost World. They're doing the same thing.
What do you think they're gonna do for the third one?
I hope they don't do.
A boy lost in the woods with dinosaurs. I mean,
At least with that one, there was actually some semblance of a difference in the whole man versus nature story. I wish it would have focused more on the kid rather than just doing what the first two movies have already done: survive dinos.
yeah,
But what's done is done. So honestly, I kind of thought that Fallen Kingdom probably would have worked best if they stayed on the island, because that's kind of what I think that's what most of the trailers, what the marketing was about, like the destruction of the island.
yes, especially featured in the first trailer they released in December.
Mm-hmm. And it was after watching the movie that kind of made me like rethink all the previous movies, or at least the ones made by Steven Spielberg. Spielberg has a natural talent of appealing to both kids and adults, and also keeping something simple. Like with Jurassic Park, it's about there's a park filled with dinos. Something goes wrong. Now they got to survive. Same thing with the Lost World. With Jurassic World, it's all we have to save the dinos from a volcanic island that's about to erupt, but now we have to rescue them from being sold to foreign military powers. Just the tension of rescuing the dinosaurs from an erupting island, I felt was just enough, as well as also keeping what the whole theme that the movies are centered around, which is about man versus nature. This is just a different spin. Instead of man trying to control nature, it's man trying to survive nature.
Yes. Apologies.
Apologies?
Yes, clearing my throat.
Okay, it's all right. It's all right. What about you?
Overall, I rather enjoyed this film. I have to agree, the time on the island that we spent there was a little too short.
Yes.
That's really my biggest gripe about it all. Because, like you said, that would have been enough. I mean, say they had a big cliffhanger with the Indoraptor appearing at the end, that would be a good way to set up the next film, but they did not do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also this kind of, and I felt like this is kind of what would make Claire Dearing's decision that much more earned, that much also more logical, because now I do have to think. I think my experience with the Dragon series has actually made me try to think more logical and clearly about some of the decisions that characters make. And Claire, her decision to just let the dinosaurs die. I guess before I go any further, if you haven't seen the movie, spoiler warning.
Oh, yeah. Oops.
Yeah. 10 minutes in and we forgot the spoilers. That's alright.
We'll put it up on the little image thing.
Okay.
For the video.
Okay. Wait, Claire's decision to just not release the dinosaurs, have them be poisoned by the cyanide. It just felt like it was just a little bit forced. Now, granted, earlier in the movie, Mills did kind of call her out on trying to play God by creating the Indominus Rex. So she pretty much let a different type of genie out of the bottle. And but the thing is, going back to how it would have just been simple if if it was trying to survive an erupting island as well as rescuing the dinosaurs. That had a lot more potential for challenge for her belief, her ideals to be challenged in order to come to that conclusion, to come to the decision that it's either us or the dinos. Because with an erupting volcano, it's chaos. That's chaos theory. Everything can just go wrong. It's a veritable Murphy's Law. I mean, you could have dinosaurs wreck the cars. You could have people getting eaten, which is standard in a Jurassic Park movie. You could have had falling. You could have had lava embers. Destroying cars, destroying docks, making it so that Claire has to make an important decision. It's what's more important, their lives or the dinos.
Yeah, I think in some ways that would be a better movie.
Let's see. And okay, and I guess I'm not okay. If you haven't gotten this, yeah, I do have a lot of gripes with Fallen Kingdom, and only a few things that I would like to praise about. So, not to say that it was the most horrible movie. I mean, no, like I said, it's enjoyable as a creature feature. But let's see. I guess the other issue I have that was kind of a delayed reaction is that why would you hold an auction for giant lizards? Okay, and they're birds. I know. I do research, but in this movie they look like lizards, and they're made to look like lizards. Why would you hold an auction for those creatures in the basement of the old man's house? I mean,
the old man was trying to save the animals.
Yeah. So. Look, I know he's old, but I think even a Tyrannosaurus roar would have been enough for him to go, "What was that?"
Mills, what are you doing in my basement?
And then, of course, there's the dumb decision that Mills decides to, you know what? Let's sell the prototype. After being explicitly warned by Wu that it's a bad idea.
It's not ready. Although I have to draw a comparison with the Dragon series. Do you remember the last Auction Heroes episode?
Yes.
I've seen a lot of parallels.
I see. You think there might have been an important you might think there was an important character connection in this movie like there was in that episode?
In some ways, yes. Hiccup is basically taking the role of Claire and Owen a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And in the movie, we see Owen and Claire in a cage. In that episode, we see the same thing, except it's the whole group.
Yeah. Oh, now I get it. They were written. Okay, so they were. So, in that episode, a dragon frees them from the cage. In this movie, a dinosaur frees them from their cage.
A Stygimoloch.
I didn't know what kind of dinosaur it was. I just saw the dome skull and I thought Pachycephalosaurus.
Yep, no, it's just a related species.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get some to some of the comedic bits later on in our discussion. I think that might be all for the plot. Let's see. Next on my list is characters.
Oh boy, here we go.
Okay, All right, so nothing wrong with Claire and Owen because they were characters that existed in the previous movies, and which for a Jurassic Park movie to get two characters from previous movies, the same amount of screen time is kind of rare. Because if you think about it, who came back from the first movie in the Lost World? Jeff Goldblum. Yeah, Jeff Goldblum. Who came back for Jurassic Park 3? Alan Grant.
Sam Neill.
Yep. So hey, they're learning. Alright. However, the minor characters are just, for lack of a better word, caricatures rather than characters.
Let's see, who all do we have here?
Well, let's see. Can I start with the annoying ones?
I suppose.
Okay, well, you have Franklin, who's of course a typical millennial who apparently has the personality of Chucky and Shaggy. He's scared of anything, or fish legs, scared of everything, and he's a germaphobe. Oh yeah, and he has a girly scream.
He has fish legs and his screaming goat. He escaped Alvin.
At least that one was funny. At least when he screamed, it actually caused Alvin pain. I don't think I remember seeing the Baryonyx or Suchomimus.
Baryonyx.
The Baryonyx wincing in pain from the scream.
No, although it did get lava dropped on its head.
Yes.
How it survived that, I do not know.
Yeah. And then there's Zia. Okay, I have to think about their names because there's so many characters in here, and there's so much plot going on. I don't know whether it's modern movie making or just the fact that I have to admit that I'm getting old now. That I have a limited amount of brain space. Zia, who is a paleo-veterinarian. I don't know what school you go to for that, but sounds interesting. And she's also well, if you've ever seen Go-Go from Big Hero 6, kind of like that, but with a lot more attitude. Yeah. And honestly, that's all I know about her, is that she has an attitude. I don't know what she's afraid of. I don't know what makes her happy, other than pissing off the hunter. What was his name? Wheatley?
Yeah, Ken Wheatley.
Ken Wheatley. Ken Wheatley. What an interesting name for a hunter.
I wonder if his ancestors used to make bread.
Maybe.
But yeah, and Wheatley. Boy.
Wheatley, the stereotypical hunter. You have to hate him because he takes Dino's teeth that he wants to make into a necklace. So he has none of the appeal of Muldoon and none of the charm of Roland from the first two movies.
Although it does come back to bite him in the ass. We'll get to that.
Yes. and then there's Mills, the overseer of the Lockwood estate, who is, well, of course, your typical bad guy.
Yes, the traitorous bad guy.
Yes, the traitorous bad guy. apparently he and Claire had had a connection, and that's all. That's all. I forget what it was. What was their past?
I think they worked together, like when she was an intern or something.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. So, yeah. So yeah. Now, aside from
wait, we're forgetting someone.
I was actually getting to her. Now, aside from all those stereotypical characters, you do have one that at least who's at least given some bit of depth, and that is is this who you were talking about, Maisie?
No, I was talking about Trump 2.0.
Oh, Trump 2.0. Yeah, we'll get to
we'll get it to him.
We'll get yes, the Trump avatar.
But Maisie
has a little bit of depth to her.
And backstory.
Yeah. She's the grandfather of Lockwood, played by oh dang, I forget his name, but he's the farmer from Babe.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw him and I'm like, oh my gosh. And also the nanny, Maisie's nanny.
I thought
you know who she is?
No, I don't.
She is Geraldine Chaplin. Name ring a bell?
No.
Charlie Chaplin's granddaughter.
No!
Yeah.
Oh my god. Nice.
Yeah, you got the descendant of a legend.
Yes. Woo! So, what Alright, so Maisie is a child, I'm guessing about 12 years old.
Yeah, 11, 12.
11, 12. She's she's very resourceful. For a child. Of course, when you come from a rich grandfather, you're gonna get a good education. I kind of wonder if she got the same education as Kevin McAllister from Home Alone.
Oh, maybe.
God, the amount of smarts on that kid, it just freaks me out.
I think that some kids today still, because I have several younger siblings and they're all freaky smart.
Mm-hmm. And anyway, it's actually revealed that she's not really the granddaughter in the traditional sense. She is
the genetic sense.
Yes, she is. She's actually a clone of Lockwood's daughter who died in a car crash. And it's apparently this that kind of drove Lockwood and Hammond apart, which I kind of have some confusion over, really, but we'll get to that later. This is actually very interesting because it actually does lead to a couple good shots.
Oh yes.
Which again, we'll get to later. It's ultimately she's the one who kind of frees Claire from the decision that she made to let the dinos die. She's the one who frees the dinos, saying that they're alive like her, which is kind of meaningful.
Yeah,
coming from her.
I mean, it wouldn't have that big of an impact if Claire did it, but
yeah,
when Maisie did it, I really like that choice.
Yeah. And so, of course, as you kind of and if you've seen the movie, then you also know that unfortunately the grandfather is smothered to death by Mills because which after seeing it a second time, it is kind of funny. There's a phone right over there on top of a pillow. What did you think was gonna happen? Yes, yes, the farmer is smothered to death by the Weasley guy.
Yep.
So now, and since then the Weasel guy got chomped by a T-Rex and a Carnotaur.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was nice to see a Carnotaur. I haven't seen those since Dinosaur.
Yeah, I feel like they've been lacking
Yeah.
in pop culture.
And you know what? Also, Carnotaurs were in the second book.
Yeah, they actually gave inspiration for the Indominus Rex's camouflage ability.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, sidetrack.
Yep, a little bit.
Maisie is now under the care of Claire and Owen, who I think maybe their romance was rekindled, but I'm not sure. I'm saying no.
Yeah, I think they might just be working together for the benefit of Maisie.
Which is not bad. I mean, that could lead to
Yeah.
some good comedy. Look at Married with Children.
Oh, good God. I want to see a spin-off series between this movie and the next one of those two parenting.
Hey, Al, did you miss me? With every bullet so far. Oh, God. Would not fly today.
I can see, like, Owen being the chill dad and Claire being the semi-strict mom. And Owen's just letting Maisie do whatever she wants, and Claire's just like, do you approve of this? Yes.
That would be nice. I actually would like to see that. A nice little web series.
Yeah. Like 6 episodes. Just a little something.
Yes. All right. I think that's it for characters. Now let's go on to
Oh, we forgot Trump 2.0 quick.
Actually, I was going to him.
Okay.
I was actually going to him. This is my biggest gripe with the movie, is that there's a lot of I counted like 4 references to President Trump, and for me that's 3 too many. And of course the obvious one is the character, what's his name?
Gunnar Eversole, which sounds like Barbasol.
Oh, good one. Good one.
And look at his hair.
Oh, God. There's numerous references below. Yeah, his hair is like that of Trump's. His manner, his way of speaking almost sounds like Trump when he's trying to rearrange his dentures. Oh, and what's this? He's so tiny. Is that a reference to his to Trump's tiny hands? And okay, so that makes it a reference, joke number 5 at Trump. And I was just sitting there in the theater going, "Where's the Russians? I know there's going to be Russians." Sure enough,
Russia.
Sure enough, they're there. Now, the one reference that I thought was actually perfect was in the beginning. When there's BBC News, if you look at the bottom ticker, you can read U.S. President questions the existence of dinosaurs in the first place.
I'm nodding my head right now.
Oh, okay. For me, that's enough of a joke at Trump, because we all know of how much of an idiot he is when it comes to science. We know he denies global climate change, and you've seen the memes of when he decided to say Space Force.
Oh, good God. But that's a discussion for another day.
Yes. Honestly, I would have been fine with that reference and 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 nothing else. But the the people writing it, the studio involved, they just want to. This is this is unfortunately the state that I'm in when it comes to movies and television. Is that everywhere it's Trump, 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 Trump. I still see movies in the old way that they are an escape. I want them to be an escape from the harshness of reality. I go to movies to experience the possibility of a better world,
Or a worse one.
or or a worse one. And so when real world stuff is like just is just shoehorned in it, and even when Wheatley calls Zia a nasty woman, it takes me out of the experience. I'm thinking I'm no longer in a world of dinosaurs.
You're in a world with Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Dinosaurs.
Yes. Yep, I'm in a world of dinosaurs that unfortunately has Trump.
Although that did give us one of the best scenes in the movie, in my opinion.
Which was when Eversol gets eaten.
Yep, and everyone else that was with him in the elevator.
Mm-hmm. It's not. It was kind of funny.
Here's another Trump thing. When he pushed that woman out of the way into the view of the Indoraptor.
How is that a Trump thing?
He only thinks of himself.
Ah. Well, he's a bad guy.
True, yeah. What does that say of Trump, though?
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
if you're going to if you're trying to just make fun of Trump, just once in a movie, once is enough, at least for me. If you want to make constant jokes, leave it to the late night hosts and leave it to South Park. Because unless you're trying to go for commentary, in which case you need to relearn what subtlety is.
Yeah.
Since we actually talked about comedy, if we unless we can move on to that part of the movie, unless you thought of any more Trumpisms that were in there in the movie.
Not that I know of, no.
All right. So the comedy in the movie is kind of a mixed bag, sort of like Rough and Tough in season 5.
Oh, good lord.
In some cases, there were some good moments of comedy. For one, when you see Eversol's hair blowing in the wind just before he's eaten by the Indoraptor. Kind of funny. That's again, kind of a reference to Trump, but still funny. It's like he went full peacock.
Oh, remember the Duke of Weaseltown from Frozen?
Yeah, that he was bald.
Yeah. Ish. He had like a comb over floppy thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, continuing.
And the other one that I liked was in the opening sequence where the guy who's hanging by the helicopter ladder just escapes being eaten by a T-Rex, and he's all like, yeah, I'm alive. And then the what's it called? Mosasaur. The Mosasaur just jumps up, and he doesn't know what's going on behind him, and the dino's jaws are just wide open. It is hilarious and scary at the same time, and just chomps that guy.
That dark humor, though.
Yes. That's pretty much the only dark humor that I can remember from this movie that actually works.
Yeah. Some of the stuff that I feel we could have done without.
If,
Although this was rather funny, Owen being completely paralyzed.
Yeah. I was laughing, but I
It
don't.
was ridiculous.
I felt like I shouldn't have laughed because he's trying to escape lava, and I have a feeling I feel like whoever made this movie or whoever was involved in writing had not seen Volcano.
Or any volcano.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how hot lava gets, but if it comes from the Earth's core, third-degree burns are the least of your worries.
Yeah, that baryonyx should be dead.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he's kind of flopping like a ragdoll to get away, and for a powerful sedative, he did recover very quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a sedative made for a dinosaur, right?
Yep.
I think shouldn't he have been dead?
Like severe cardiac arrest and such.
Mm-hmm.
Although he did pull it out before the entire thing moved. Or Zia pulled it out before the whole thing went into him, so.
Yeah. Okay, so we got, what, half the dose?
Yeah, I think so. So maybe something for like a Gallimimus or a Dilophosaurus or something.
Hmm. Oh, Dilophosaurus. I've been wanting to see you since the first movie.
Indeed. It's been a toy in almost every wave that's been put out. But we still haven't gotten it.
Maybe because some of the dinosaur purists would be going like, that dinosaur does not exist.
It's an artistic license.
Yeah. Hell, the Velociraptor was an artistic license until they discovered the Utah Raptor.
Oh, most definitely. They just beefed up a Deinonychus. And even then, Jack Horner said that when they made the very first one, he said that the animal should have feathers.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't go for that.
Because it would kind of look silly that they were essentially running from giant chickens.
Chickens are scary.
Well, yeah, they are. They're very temperamental.
Oh, yeah, I have several.
But think about that. If the Velociraptor in the movie in the first movie had feathers, and you heard it do that barking, that Darth Vader like cough, would you be afraid?
Well, seeing how it's a fairly large animal with teeth and claws, yeah.
Okay.
And not to mention the intelligence factor.
True. Alright. I don't know. I feel like if I saw that now, I probably would be laughing.
Yeah, until it decides to rip you open.
Yeah. Speaking of which, that's actually a good segue to one of the dumbest uses of comedy in this movie, and that is the Tom and Jerry fake out.
You want me to do this one?
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay, so during this section of the movie, every so often it would switch. We go from one scene to another, and it would just leave you hanging, thinking what happened, and then of course, going along with the whole ripping open thing, the Indoraptor. I have a bit of a gripe with this. How they let it get out was sort of clever, but I feel it would have been more scary if it actually reached out and just undid the lock.
Yeah, I mean, it's a raptor. We already know how intelligent they are.
They open doors.
Yes!
What they showed it opening a door.
Yes! It can... Why didn't they? And hell, there was even that shot. There was even the shot of the cage door closing. And what, like, didn't one of the latches? You know, I know it needs a padlock. Just like go down.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Oh, and then of course there's the mindless goon trope. Hey, this door's open. Oh, don't worry, I'll close it. I swear, it's the goons from Race to the Edge all over again.
Yep. They're probably just as mass-produced as them, too. They all look alike.
Yeah, there's a few variations in the models, but
no variations in intelligence.
Ugh, my goodness, no. I mean, it's a tyrannosaur. And it's sedated. Why would the door be open? I don't know. Never think to actually check.
I mean, seriously, if there was a lion that you were transporting, and you saw its cargo box had a door open, would you want to see if someone was tampering with it?
Or even just check to see if it's still in there?
Yes.
You should be worried?
Yes!
Although, I can cut them a bit of a slack on that because it's a freaking T-Rex.
You're gonna notice if a T-Rex is missing. Because we all know the iconic scene from the first movie. Yes. Maybe it's the power trying to come back on. You're an idiot!
Haven't you read the book?
Alright. But my biggest gripe with the bad use of comedy was when the scene that causes Wheatley's death by the Indoraptor.
Oh. Oh, okay. You mind if I take this one?
Go ahead.
Alright, so Wheatley shows up after the whole fiasco with the Digimoloch, which is decent. Some action comedy we got.
Yeah, that's a good one, because, we kind of seen a little of that in The Lost World.
Yeah, the guy hiding behind the door, then Pachycephalosaurus rams into him and sent him through the other door.
Mm-hmm.
And they basically took that to the next level with people flying against the walls every which way.
Yes.
And John and I were talking just before we started this. I replayed that scene in my head, and I overlaid the This Is Burke song from the very first How to Train Your Dragon movie.
Yeah, and I agree. It fits.
But the Indoraptor scene. Okay, so Wheatley walks into the auction room, and the Indoraptor is still there. It's freaking out a bit because everyone's gone, and it's a bit temperamental. So he goes, "What are you? I didn't see you on the island." And in my head, I'm like, "No." So for some reason, he decides to tranquilize it, and this hybrid takes 2 darts and then falls over. So Wheatley gets the great idea to go in the cage. And then he takes out his set of pliers and grabs onto one of the snaggly teeth that the Indoraptor has. So he's pulling on it, trying to get it out, and it's not budging. Which is odd because we saw how easily he took out the teeth from the other dinosaurs. And then we cut to a shot of the Indoraptor's face with him pulling over it, and then behind we see the Indoraptor's tail raise up. And I'm like, okay, I knew it. And when I saw the Indoraptor fall over, I'm like, I don't buy it.
Even my...
You said your dad did the same thing, right?
Yes, he did. He said it's faking it. I mean, we all knew it. I mean, Why are you trying to pull this? I mean, we know anyone who's seen the Jurassic Park movies knows how intelligent a raptor is.
Yeah, and this is just bumped up. So, but yeah, we see its tail raise up. Wheatley looks behind him, and just as the tail lowers, and he's like, "Huh." Starts pulling again. The tail raises up again. He looks. He looks behind him, and then we focus in on the Indoraptor's head. Its eye opens and it smirks.
It smirks. God damn it! Mm.
The animal, this hybrid animal, apparently has a very dark sense of humor,
which is weird. Because that would mean that it must have seen something like this on a television, which I wouldn't.
We don't know what his cage was like. Maybe it had a bowl of popcorn.
Maybe, but God, it's just what really it just took me out of the moment.
Yeah, I mean, just seeing him pulling on the Indoraptor too. I'm like, you idiot.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see the eye open and the smirk, and I'm like, okay. All right, come on. Where's the punchline? Come on. And then, of course, the Indoraptor swings around, knocks him to the other side of the cage.
After biting his arm off, which we actually do see.
Yeah, I think that's one of the goriest things we've seen in a Jurassic movie.
Yeah.
Next to Eddie Carr being torn in half.
Oh yeah.
But besides that and Mills being bitten in half, this is the most shocking and gory scene ever.
Mm-hmm. And I think I feel like that might have been why they decided to put in that little humorous, that little comedy bit. Because then it kind of lowers our response time, and then makes the shock factor just all that more shocking.
Yeah.
But seeing how this is in a Jurassic Park movie, and nothing like that ever existed before, and you only see it in something like cartoons. It just feels out of place.
Yeah, like Looney Tunes style stuff.
Yes. I mean, I kind of would have just liked it. I mean, I would have liked it more if the instant Wheatley grabbed onto his tooth then it just snapped at his arm.
That would be better, yeah.
It's cliche, but then trade off no comedy bit.
Yeah, and I think that would have been better.
Yeah. This is what
and we could have some fake horror music playing in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm playing off of a radio.
Yeah, or like maybe Dance Macabre from Camille Saint-Saëns. You know that song that was played at for Jameson Irish whiskey commercials?
Ah, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Some, extremely dark humor with some irony.
Mm-hmm. And this is what I feel like is what I think is wrong with movies today is that they want to have dark moments, but they themselves are just too scared to actually go dark. They want to inject a little bit of comedy in it to try to lighten the mood, which is just tonally it just doesn't work.
Yeah, you and I talked about this, like how I like watching the old movies like Jaws and Alien, and how great those horror movies were.
I know,
because it built it up, and we didn't get any cheesy comedy.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even in the first Jurassic Park, there were whatever humor there was, kind of mostly actually came from Malcolm, and that was snarky humor. That was almost snarky humor. That wasn't meant to lighten the mood. That was just meant to add to the situation. That was just add to the situation. Like it's
all
just,
major theme parks have problems.
Yeah, but
yes, John, but when the Pirates of the Caribbean breaks down, the pirates don't eat the tourists.
I was thinking that. That's just a reflection of the situation. This is completely. Yeah, it's his way of saying this is a completely different situation, John.
And he also proved that he was right.
Yes. Just like he was in this movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he kind of was.
Uh-huh. That's the other thing I have a little bit of a gripe about. I mean, you get Goldblum to return, and we're all excited for his return. And he's always seen, and we just see him in one scene in the beginning and the end. Pretty. Now I know a little bit about film production. That stuff can be knocked out in a day.
I mean, it would be good. I think it would be good if we actually saw Malcolm at the auction just to observe, because we all know he's not going to buy anything.
Mm-hmm.
But if we just saw him observing in the background, I would have liked that.
Mm-hmm. And you didn't, and also in the trailer he says his iconic quote that life finds a way.
Yeah, and when he says that, I'm thinking that when I saw the trailer, I would have thought that we would have Claire and her dinosaur protection group and Malcolm in the same room.
Mm-hmm.
But we did not get that.
Nope. There was no interaction with the characters of this new trilogy with any of the characters from the old one.
Except Wu.
Except even in this movie there was no interaction between them.
Just saw him. They just saw him.
Yes. Oh yeah, and also which is again then there's which is also, how just not very subtle that the writing is that Maisie points out Dr. Henry Wu, to which Eversol says, designed by Dr. Henry Wu. I was like, and I'm thinking in my head to the screen, thank you, I would have never have guessed. Yeah. And it's not like the characters don't know who the fuck he is.
Yeah, Claire worked with him. Owen knows him.
Mm-hmm.
They were co-workers.
Yeah.
I mean, in the end of Jurassic World, Claire even says to Hoskins, "Where's Henry? Is there another Henry?"
Mm-hmm. Well, Henry is a very common name.
Well, yeah. But we don't know of anyone.
Mm-hmm. We don't know of anyone else named Henry.
Yeah. Just that one guy.
Mm-hmm.
Who has survived every movie to date.
Uh-huh.
Even though, according to the first book, spoiler alert, he gets disemboweled by a velociraptor.
Oh, you think that's going to happen in the third one?
I hope it does.
Mm-hmm. So that's and that's kind of the other thing about this movie, and I think also kind of modern blockbuster movies in general is that in the age of the internet, nothing's a secret. So they kind of try to put in points that you think are going to be relevant to the plot, only to subvert your expectations, to say, nope, fooled you. Like with the scene when Maisie sneaks into the basement lab, which Mills just pretty much broadcasted to Claire when they met.
Yeah, like in the basement of this very building.
Mm-hmm.
The DNA from the first prehistoric animal was extracted from amber.
Mm-hmm. She sees footage of Owen training the baby raptors, and she sees the specific footage of how Blue reacts to whenever she sees someone who shows weakness. And I turn to my dad, going, I bet that's going to be plot relevant later on. Turns out, no, it wasn't. It had no relevance to the plot. All it served was to have Maisie know who's the good guy.
Yeah, and I think I would have liked it if they had like Maisie extremely vulnerable, then Mills was going after her, and then Blue shows up and just rips his face off.
Yeah, that would have worked. That would have worked. Yeah, and that would have made that moment, relevant.
Yeah, Universal, if you're listening to this, you should know that I am currently looking for work. Hit me up.
Me too.
Yeah, we would love to work together on this next movie, so message us over Facebook, please.
Mm-hmm. And the other kind of little subversion is, again, in the opening sequence when the future Dino Chow, the one that's handling the electrical control box. As you see the plants move around and you hear the sound. And when I first saw that, I was like, oh, Dilophosaurus, you're back. And then
we see a lightning flash.
Nope, not a Dilophosaurus. Instead, he's T-Rex Chow. And so, of course, that kind of got me thinking, oh, so that wasn't a Dilophosaurus. Those must have been the compies.
It really sucks that we didn't see someone go the way of Dieter Stark.
Oh, yeah. No, there's always, let's see, Guardians of Anaheim and Dragons.
Oh, yeah.
And let's see. And actually, that's kind of all we have for the subversions. We got a little sidetracked on the comedy. I think we did say we were going to talk about the Stigmalia. What was it?
Could you repeat that?
What was that dragon? Not dragon, dinosaur. Oh shit! I got dragons on the mind. The one.
Mosasaur?
No, the Paki family.
Oh, Stygimoloch.
Stygimoloch. Okay. This is about the comedy. Like when we see it hit a steel girder, and it's clear that it just got knocked for a loop.
Yeah.
I thought that actually was pretty funny. I mean, at first I thought, okay, and I thought, wow, what a tough little dinosaur. It hits a steel beam and just walks it off. But no, you can still see it's still trying to recover.
Yeah, it's seeing stuff.
Mm-hmm. That also was actually a good bit of comedy, and mostly because it didn't come after or before a dark moment. It came after a very action moment.
Yeah.
A very tense moment, because at the same time as the Stygimoloch was banging against the concrete wall, it was intercut with images of the bidding gavel being slammed down after all the dinosaurs are being sold.
And I like the parallel of every time we heard the gavel hit the little plate, we saw the brick wall move a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed that.
I did too. There were some good shots in this movie. A few of them. Which I think that's actually a good that's actually a good segue.
Yes, cinematography.
Yes. Now, this is. It was after seeing the movie the first time is that I kind of was drawing I was drawing a parallel between this and The Last Jedi.
Okay, I haven't seen that one.
Oh, okay. Well, what you need to know about The Last Jedi is that it was very divisive among fans and among fans of Star Wars, and I kind of thought it had a very jumbled story, confusing plot, but a lot of good shots. And that's kind of how I feel. That's what I felt like Fallen Kingdom was: muddled story, confusing plot, but a few good shots. Like my favorite shot, as I mentioned, is well, I have two favorite shots. My favorite one is, of course, from the beginning with the mosasaur and the happy man who just survived the T-Rex.
Yep.
And the second one is the little reflection overlay of Maisie's face in the glass display when they're hiding from the Indoraptor, and its face is just lined up with her, kind of again showing how they are a product of the same technology.
Yes, and that view of Maisie's face with a ring of teeth across it.
Yes. I thought it was very well shot. The one shot that the one shot I didn't like was actually in the climax when the first plan to make the Indoraptor fall through the glass dome, and you see a very low shot of its body in line with the horns of a Triceratops skull, and I'm thinking, oh, that's how it's gonna die.
Yeah. Because we've known about that skull since the first, actual image of production came out, so it's not a secret.
Yeah. This is kind of why subtlety is your friend, because going back to an earlier Spielberg movie like Jaws, is that a scene when you see Brody flip through the books, finding everything he knows about sharks. You see images of a shark bursting through a boat. You see a shark cage. You see a picture of a shark with an air tank in its mouth. And this happens an hour before all those events happen.
Yeah.
So when you have a shot of a Triceratops skull, its horns actually pointing up at a dangling Indoraptor, 30 seconds before that event actually happens, then that's not clever foreshadowing. It's pretty much just road directions.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think in a previous discussion we had, you did talk about some foreshadowing, that there was some good ones. Like, oh
yeah,
you look so much like your mother.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah. Oh, you look so much like your mother. You're like the spitting image. And then it turns out
she is.
Maisie, yeah, quite literally, the spitting image.
Now why that works is that it's just it's a very common phrase for parents to either say to their children, or grandparents to say to their grandchildren. And so we just write it off as nothing. Again, kind of going back to that scene in Jaws, he's flipping through books. Nothing really weird about that. but then when it comes into play an hour later, and then you go back into your mind, and it was like and you get that holy shit moment.
Yeah. Oh, another instance of foreshadowing. The lightning illuminating Lady Rex when she first appears. We see the same thing with Blue. Towards the end.
Yeah. I don't know if that'd be considered foreshadowing. I mean, it is more like maybe a bookends echo. Like,
oh yeah, maybe.
But that's
sorry, but you cannot be on my computer.
I guess that's the other thing about the cinematography is that there are some instances where when certain moments are framed that it's supposed to that it directs your eye, like when before the T-Rex shows up the very first time, you see the man on frame right, and it slowly closes up into a waist shot. So he has all this space above him and to his right. It's pretty much telling it's telling the audience to look there.
Yes, and then the lightning flashes and you see the face of a T-Rex.
Mm-hmm. I thought some, and I think that some of the moments that were kind of meant to be scary or dark it kind of makes them hilarious once executed, especially when you see the lightning from below the water illuminate the silhouette of a mosasaur, and then you see the submarine actually back into its open mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, I think just keeping the mystery of whether or not that the mosasaur is alive or not, and then cutting to like one of the members just not being able to communicate with the sub, and then followed by the air bubble. I think that you mentioned in one of our previous discussions.
Yeah, the false take from yesterday.
Yeah, yeah. Would have been enough to really up the tension of that scene.
Yeah.
But kind of like with the first Jurassic World, a lot, I guess some of the Easter eggs or references to the movies is kind of makes it hilarious. Like when I saw Jurassic World in theaters, and it shows a shot of the Indominus Rex's eye, the close up of the eye looking at the kids in the gyrosphere, I was laughing.
Ow. Ow. My foot is being clawed.
By a cat?
Yes, small kittens. We got 2 of them yesterday after our discussion.
Oh, nice.
Yes, and now this one won't leave me alone.
It's your bonded.
Yes.
Alright.
Okay. Go harass your sister.
Okay. Okay. I think we might have already talked enough about the cinematography. How about the acting?
Like you said yesterday, there was some flat acting.
There was some flat acting from Chris, even from Bryce Dallas Howard. They seem to have the same expression. Is that for Bryce it's like a half smile, and for Chris Pratt it's a serious acting face. I mean the one bit I mean, when he's reviewing footage of Blue and the other raptors, I mean, I didn't see any like inner workings in his mind or like any change in his mind saying that suggests I'm going. I saw more emotion from the test footage from him.
Yeah.
Other than that, that's pretty much it. That's it for the flat acting. Some of them was pretty good, if a little funny. Like again, Wheatley's face before the Indoraptor chomps him.
Let's talk about Franklin and Zia a bit.
All right.
I know you don't want to, but it's our job.
Okay.
They do play a sizable role in this story, so
they do.
I mean, I was somewhat impressed by the casting choices for these characters, but I don't know if it's the writing that happened or just the acting.
What do you mean?
Like some of their lines seemed a little cheesy, although most of Zia's lines were pretty good. Yeah, hello. I'm being stared at over the edge of my laptop. But some of Franklin's lines, I think the most said line that he ever gave, it's a T-Rex, it's a T-Rex, it's a T-Rex. Oh my god, it's a T-Rex.
Yeah. See, it's not a T-Rex. Oh, this is so much better.
Well, it's not.
No. Yeah. Okay. Even though some of those minor characters were kind of caricatures, Franklin was actually the most annoying to me.
Yeah, I can agree.
I mean, I was actually thinking he was going to die, because it seemed that all he was good for was, to reboot the system on Jurassic World, and I was thinking, I'm not going to be sad if he gets killed.
Yeah, I would have liked it better if they brought in Jake Johnson to play his part again.
Lowry. Who?
Lowry.
Lowry?
Truther.
That guy that had the desk full of dino toys?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he had the Jurassic Park shirt, yeah.
Yeah. Which I'm wearing right now.
Oh. I'm not.
Yeah, I forgot it's okay. I forgot we were doing. Did I say I was not going to wear? Did I say I was not going to wear a Jurassic Park shirt, or did I say?
You did.
Or did I say I was just going to put on my profile pic?
You said you were going to put on your profile pic.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, this overall, I rather enjoyed this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Something we've been neglecting to talk about: animatronics.
We were going to get to that, and let's also talk about music, which you brought up yesterday.
Yeah, we completely forgot about music in our first take. So.
Yeah. That is the one thing that I just have glowing praise over for this movie, is the use of animatronics. It's what made the first Jurassic Park so memorable and so magical, because it was a combination of those practical effects plus computer effects.
And it was never seen before. So.
Yeah. and so there would be switches between animatronics and computer generated dinos, which when you're a kid, I mean, it it just completely fools you.
Yeah.
And in this movie, there was a there was a very good blend of animatronics and CGI. Some of the CGI was kind of a little obvious to tell.
Yeah.
But the uh but the medical scene that involved Blue uh was mostly animatronic. That was a full body animatronic raptor with very few CGI little enhancements, and it was just beautiful.
Not to mention the T-Rex.
Oh, the T-Rex! Yes, the T-Rex scene where they have to extract blood so they can do a transfusion. That was mostly animatronics as well.
Yeah, with some slight CGI touching up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, mostly around the eyes for both the raptor and the T-Rex.
Yeah.
Which again, if you look closely, you can see a little bit of a tear go down Blue's snout.
I did see that. Yeah.
So yeah,
Did you also notice the Indoraptor animatronics?
A little bit.
Yes, the head when it's about to chomp Wheatley and throwing in his face.
Uh-huh.
And also the arm. They had a full arm set up, and that's what opened the door and reached towards Maisie through the cage.
Wow. Actually, I didn't know that was an animatronic because it looked like it was kind of all done. I think it was like redrawn with mostly CGI because it did look CGI.
Maybe they touched it up, but I've seen the production videos that Universal puts out, and they actually show them rehearsing with it. So I don't know if it was just a rehearsal thing or they actually used it in the final movie.
All right. Well, yeah, that's what I think. That's what I really loved and what I like to see from a Jurassic Park movie, because dinosaurs, no matter how much time goes by, dinosaurs have a way of just capturing kids' imagination because they're both a myth and not at the same time.
Which they talk about.
Mm-hmm. Which was a very good piece of dialogue, especially coming from Claire, because now it's a complete 180 from how she was in Jurassic World.
Yeah.
Because she saw them mostly as data, as bits of DNA. Now she actually does see them as creatures. Which again probably would have been better had they just focused mostly on surviving the island.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the praise that we have for this movie, or at least that's the glowing praise I have for this one. The use of animatronics, which I love. I'm so glad that it hasn't been completely phased out.
Yes, because in Jurassic World we got exactly one scene of an animatronic.
Mm-hmm.
And that was such a disappointment. With all of the advancements we've made in robotics and animatronics, and they only give us one.
Yes.
I guess because CGI is cheaper.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's just a big disappointment to me because, in my personal opinion, the animatronics in Jurassic Park 3, despite not being the best movie, I felt it at that point, after with Jurassic World factoring in, it had the best animatronics I have ever seen.
Oh yeah, no kidding. I still like the scene of when seeing the raptor legs in Jurassic Park 3 because it moves very smoothly, almost like it is an ancient predator. Compared to the shot from the very first Jurassic Park, when they're in the kitchen.
Yeah, in Jurassic Park 3, that shot was actually a guy wearing a set of legs and a harness.
Yeah.
And with Jurassic World, it's really just disappointing. I mean, if they had at least a partial body of the Indominus Rex for some of those scenes, and they could have done that, especially in the Innovation Center.
Yes.
Not Innovation Center, the old Visitor Center.
Oh, yeah.
Where the head comes through and looks and just goes right next to the Jeep.
Mm-hmm.
And then the later shot where it smashes through the roof. That all could have been done with animatronics. There's no reason why it could not have been. But for some reason.
So essentially Fallen Kingdom kind of learned from the criticism and even the mistakes from Jurassic World.
Yes.
Okay. And yeah, and I agree, and I agree with what you said. That they could have used animatronics for that scene with the Indominus. All right. So, do you have anything else to say about the animatronics or the visual effects?
The use of lava for lighting in some scenes, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice touch, and it was actually a good build up for the baryonyx.
Yeah, because it's just glowing in the background, and then we see the silhouette, and we're like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
And Claire and Franklin aren't even looking at it,
yeah.
and we just see it behind them, and they just know that something's coming, and because we hear the beep and proximity alert, so.
Yeah, they did use a lot of They used some of the old sound effects from the first movie, like the computer effects when Nedry turns off the security system.
Yeah.
I think there were other sound effects from the first movie, but that was the only one that I could remember because I've seen the first Jurassic Park so many times that those sound effects, they're ingrained in my memory. All right, so now let's talk about the music.
Oh dear Lord! Praise Giacchino.
Now, for me, most music nowadays is kind of like elevator music. It's in the background and you know it's there, but it's not really identifiable. Not like the movies back then. Like even the music from the first Jurassic Park. That's not the iconic theme.
Yeah.
But which I think, depending on where you stand, can be a good or a bad thing, because then that kind of allows the composer more creativity to spare on actually creating something memorable. Like the one piece of music that I remember from Fallen Kingdom was the church vocalist music during the climax.
Yeah. And I think that's like a reference to the last movie, where it's like the big epic tribal music during the big climax fight. In my opinion, anyway.
Yeah. And of course, they also do bring in a few notes from the first movie, as well as Jurassic World. They bring in the horn melody when Claire arrives at the Lockwood estate for the first time, and then the camera pans to her looking at a portrait of John Hammond. That's the class.
Rest in peace.
Yes.
Rest in peace, Richard Attenborough.
Yes, rest in peace. That's the classic theme. That's the classic intro for the theme that before the horns just come in with the dun 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun.
And when they arrive at the Jurassic World Visitor Center, is that you do hear the theme of Jurassic World, which sounds like the little brother or the offspring of the iconic theme.
Yeah.
But other than that, most of the music is nowadays just white noise. It's just meant to fill in silence.
Yeah, I actually need to watch it again and pay attention to the music, because I heard a bit of the music from the end credits, and I really liked it, so I need to get the actual album for it.
And let's see, I think that might be it.
According to the list, we just have to go over ranking now.
Yeah.
So.
Which is kind of tough. It's kind of tough for me because honestly, I don't think it's better than Jurassic World. Mostly because with the huge tonal shifts that occur within the same scenes. But let's see. But on the other hand, there is no talking raptor that says Alan.
Oh, good God,
Alan. And honestly, it is kind of retreading a bit with The Lost World, which is kind of makes me appreciate that movie more than this one. So I think I would rank it above Jurassic Park 3, but below The Lost World, because currently right now it's Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, The Lost World, and now Fallen Kingdom.
And I actually have to disagree with you there. Obviously, Jurassic Park is the best. But for me, it's actually tied with The Lost World. So for me, it goes Jurassic Park, The Lost World, and Fallen Kingdom, then Jurassic World, and then Park 3.
Okay. So, what's your reasoning?
Partially the story. Although I have to agree with all your points on the story. I just feel that this is better. For me, Jurassic World is below this one because Jurassic World for me just felt too cartoony.
Okay, yeah, I can kind of see where you're coming from.
Because of basically how they made it. We had the classic big bad with the Indominus Rex. We had the villain of sorts with Vic Hoskins. We had the hero, Owen, the two kids who escaped death time and time again.
Mm-hmm.
And it just felt more cartoony to me, looking back on it.
Well, it was meant kind of a love letter to the first Jurassic Park, and Colin Trevorrow, who made that. And if you and anyone who has the Blu-ray and you've watched the extras, he said that he wanted to make the movie sort of like from a child's perspective, and I felt like he really hit the mark on that one.
Yes, and reading up on it before this meeting between you and I today, that's actually what Michael Crichton wanted to do when he first tried to write Jurassic Park. He wanted to make it from the viewpoint of a child for the awe, majesty, and wonder of seeing real dinosaurs. Unfortunately, Crichton couldn't do that because the publishers didn't think it would sell. So instead, he wrote the first book to be about violent death and the torture and pain of man trying to control nature. So I think, in some ways, Jurassic World is truer to Crichton's original idea.
Yeah, and I'd have to agree with you on that, and that's also why the first Jurassic Park was also very successful because it was in the hands of Steven Spielberg, who had, as I mentioned, that talent to appeal to both children and adults. I mean, because Jurassic Park, it captures that awe and wonder of a child when they see a real life dinosaur. Plus, it had some of the cynicism of the adults when they see that this is pretty much science trying to control nature.
Yeah, I think it's a good blending of both his ideas. So, but that's my ranking: Jurassic Park, Lost World, and Fallen Kingdom, World, and then 3.
Okay, so we're all agree. Jurassic Park 3 is the lowest ranking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not the worst film ever.
It's not the worst film. It's just there are better ones, because Jurassic Park 3 did have a lot of potential that was just kind of wasted.
Yeah, I think if they actually added in the extra half hour, because Jurassic Park movies are generally 2 hours long.
Mm-hmm.
Jurassic Park 3 is only an hour and 30 minutes roughly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think that's it.
Yes.
And
I don't have anything more on the list.
Neither do I. And let's see, this is about 30 minutes longer than our first take. So we had a lot more to talk about. Woo!
Woo! You mind if we go over our schedule so that the viewers know what to expect?
Yeah. When my Dragon series ends, I'm going to be taking a little bit of a hiatus, so that I can actually focus on getting a job where what I've been doing for the past year can actually get me some money. But that doesn't mean that my channel is going to be dead. I'm going to do the occasional movie reviews with Ian.
Hello.
But it's going to be more like a once in a month kind of deal, except in October, because what we had planned, we're planning on actually doing a whole month of movie reviews, not like 31 days. I'm talking like once a week, or with what we've got planned, like 6 movies in 1 month.
I can't wait for that.
Oh, I can't wait either. And I don't want to give too much away of what it is, but I will give you a hint. It involves sand, dirt, and worms. Good luck with that.
I think some people who have been on your channel for a while would know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, you might be right. But anyway, that is the end of the review. Thank you, Ian, for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Just like last time, this was very fun to do, and I can't wait to do more.
Yeah, I can't wait either.
All right. And if you all liked this video, do consider subscribing to our channels. Links below, and give it a thumbs up.
And leave a comment on your thoughts of the movie as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we definitely would like to hear different opinions. All right. Goodbye, everyone.